Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Kabir, and this over here is an interesting concept that I have been working on since months. I always wanted to open a podcast channel wherein I wanted to interview all these people who has been extremely successful in their life, and the entire idea was just born of how people can learn through life. And that's where this idea came in my mind, wherein I started interviewing people who are founders, CEOs, directors, and all these people who have been immensely successful. So, welcome to the first ever podcast in Taught by Live with Kabir. And today, the guest that I have is phenomenal. This particular person wanted to be a footballer. He left football because of his family's situations, went abroad, built everything from scratch, and today he happens to be the director of University of Europa. And apart from that, he also happens to be the founder of this fintech app called as Set Up My Fintech. And today I'm extremely honored to have him on my podcast, wherein we are going to be talking about his entire journey from being born in Peru at a very small town to being a professor, teaching so many people, so many students, building himself his own company, and also being the director. Apart from that, this particular human over here also makes money just by growing trees. We are also going to be discussing that in depth in this episode. So, welcome, Dr. Hubert Ho Kitano.
So, welcome to the podcast, my first ever podcast, Professor. I'm so happy to have you today over here with us. So, you happen to be the first guest for my YouTube, and I really feel honored to start the podcast with you. How do you feel?
Thank you very much, Kabir, for the opportunity to be here with you. I feel honored as well to be your first guest in your podcast. And I hope I can help all these guys in the 20s, as you mentioned, to figure it out what is coming or just not to think about it, maybe. So let's go.
Thank you so much, first of all. So, to introduce, he is Professor Hubert Ho Kitano, and he hails from Peru. So, while we're talking about Peru, I just wanted to understand because now that we are in Europe and the Europeans doesn't actually know a lot about Peru, and not only Europeans. In fact, the place that I come from, we do not know actually a lot about Peru as in the country. We know the geographical location, of course, in the maps, but nothing about the country. So, I mean, if we can start about how did it shape you in terms of how you are today, and how was it living your childhood?
That's a very interesting topic because it's comprised in a lot of years of living not only in the country but outside the country. Maybe Peru is not known in Asia yet. It was not known in Europe 20 years ago. Basically, Germany, when I arrived here in the year 2004, probably few people had traveled to Peru. But I can see the differences. Now, Europeans have traveled extensively to Peru and they feel and they can see and they could experience the differences of both cultures. Peru, it is a very particular place to visit because we have a very rich landscape and so food, culture, people, it's amazing. To your family, it's security, but we experienced hyperinflation. Yes, so in the 90s was with the change of government, they have to implement very strict measures, economical measures, that led us to have a 7,500 inflation rate in 1 year. So that's insane. And the following year, because economical prices were adjusting, it was about 2,500. So in about 2 years, you have like 10,000% inflation rate.
And this is when you were a child.
I was at that time 14, but we were experiencing inflation before, but not as hard as in the 90s. And then I am in the generation that we live the toughest, one of the toughest terrorism groups in the world, which is the Shining Path, Sendero Luminoso. And they just were blowing electrical towers in Peru. So basically, my generation studied with candles because we didn't have electricity because the terrorists were blowing up the electrical towers and all the network was collapsing. And the government tried to fix it so that people could have electricity, but it was kind of a nightmare, until the president that implemented the strict measure of economics to fix the economy captured the leader of this band, of this group, terrorist group, And then the economy started improving a little bit for the measures and also for the social aspects in life. So I remember terrorism since I was very young, but then you get used to it. You get used to live with inflation, you get used to terrorism, you get used to every day be different, that you don't know what is going to happen. You manage uncertainty, and I think it helps to you to be flexible. It helps to you to find a solution. It helps to you not to think about what happened yesterday, to think about how you're going to solve the problem today and how you're going to eat tomorrow. This is what I said, coming back to thinking about of our parents at that time, how they survived that, it's impressive. So I think that generation of parents, they did a good job. But also in my society, in my generation, I think we got some kind of psychological problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Psychological problem.
Psychological problems. Yes, and this is one of the reasons also I wanted to live abroad, because I wanted this mental peace that you cannot find in cities like Lima.
You come from Lima.
I'm from Lima.
Okay.
Yes, all my life, until I moved to Barcelona in the year 2009 to live. But meanwhile, I studied twice abroad, about a year in Barcelona and another one in Bremen, where we are right now.
Got it. So when you talk about your early childhood days, I mean, I assume, would it be right to assume that you are one of the first in your bloodline to have done so many or achieved so many medals or accolades?
I wouldn't say so. I think my father was successful in his business.
Okay.
I
So he
think
had a business.
he had a business.
Okay.
He always wanted to have a business. He created a business by his own. He started in the house garage, like all the entrepreneurs. Yes, he was providing services. His company was providing services to the electrical companies.
Okay.
I don't know, it was a nice job, but it was a good job in the sense of business. You know that when people don't pay the electrical company, they cut the cables and you don't have light, because then they want you to pay. So that was the job. He was providing services for electrical company. So he was outsourced. And since I was young, 13 years old, I was participating in the company because it was in the house garage. And then not only that, because this was the most basic job, let's say, then the company grew, and then his company delivered different services to the electrical companies. So actually that's the reason why I could have a better life or a good life in these difficult times in the country.
So when you say that your dad already owned a business,
he created from scratch, and then he built it, and his mindset was operational. He was always trying to look for efficiency. However, he lacked of different skills like negotiation skill, empathy skills, sales skills, all these soft skills that are necessary into business, more than just finance and logistics and operations and efficiency.
And when you were growing up, and when you were like, I think I would assume that where you come from, it's a patriarchal society, and you were like really close to your dad in the early days when you were seeing him establish a business, because I think he would have been the one who would have been the provider of the house. Would that be correct to say?
That's correct, but I would say that he got a lot of support from my mother.
Okay.
So he wouldn't have been so successful if my mother was not there. Not even because she took care of the family, but also she was very supportive in the business. And that is not only about that you support in the work, but there is also about emotional support, the psychological support, and all this kind of company that you need when you build up a business.
So you have seen a lot of support since your early childhood days, and because you were surrounded with your dad doing business, so business and these skills were already inherited in your blood, that you down the line you wanted to have your business.
Yeah, because my mother also did some business.
Okay.
My mother was a pots door-to-door seller.
Pots?
Pots.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
door-to-door seller. And she was very good at selling when she was young. Later, she did necklace, bracelets. So she was doing the bracelets and the necklaces and then selling it, She got her system to sell because maybe she learned that from door-to-door sell, but then she learned another system. She went to jewelry for one time, for time, and then she learned to do chocolates. Yes. So
Without YouTube, without.
yes, and I've been there watching her. Yes. So it's not only my father that was successful in business, my mother has some other skills.
And you were the one acquiring both the best of the skill sets
But of
from.
that, yes, I was talking to a friend this morning,
Mhm.
and I was telling her, when you're in business, you learn business when you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, because that's all you talk in a family business, company business.
But tell me something. I mean, this is really interesting because I think this is the first ever time you're opening up in front of the camera about your life as well. And people, I don't know how many people knows about it, like the students or people who you teach. Do they know everything about your early life? This is the first time you're opening in front of the camera.
Yes, but if people talk, I'm open to share.
That's really a nice thought. So I also wanted to understand. I mean, when you are growing up in a place wherein you have to struggle for like bare minimum, as you said that you had to study in the candles. So at that point in time, the young Hubert, did he also have the hunger or desire to achieve like immense amount of greatness in his life? Because coming from a small background, all of us, I mean, mostly me, people that I see, people who doesn't have an abundance, they always choose or they always want to be there to find the abundance, or maybe they're looking for something, maybe they don't have an answer, maybe they don't know what they want, but they have a dream that someday this young guy is going to make it big.
Yes, but I think that mentality, that thoughts starts later when you are a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
You're close to finish high school or college, and then you have to decide for next steps. When I was a kid, before my teenage age years, I just wanted to play football. I think I was happy even the circumstances.
Sorry?
Even the circumstances.
Okay.
Yes. If the toys that you get for Christmas, for instance, you only could get one toy or something like that because it was very expensive. They were imported, and these toys were very expensive. So I don't think it was. I don't think it was. We didn't think about it. Yes, we just got used to receive one or two toys, during Christmas, for instance, or your birthday. I will rephrase it and I will say that I just wanted to play football. I was happy in playing football. I was happy in doing sport. I was happy sharing with my friends, with boys, playing. Yes, and then related to success or the studies, I don't think I was into studies. I didn't need so much effort to get good grades. So that was also lucky, because I could see how my sister struggled.
Why is that?
Because you have two different talents. Yes, people have different talents. People have different skills, and for some people, education is much easier than other people. Yes, some of them can learn faster. They get the concept very fast. This is my situation. Yes, you throw an idea and then immediately I catch it, I understand it, and I'm processing what are the next steps. But there are some other people that are kind of a little bit much more slow, that they need time in order to process all that amount of information, because that's not part of their own mentality, their own system, or the background that they learn, or the difference that they have with the mind works in different ways for different people. So not everybody is the same. Yes, and this is why what we don't understand when we are young is that we have to give sometimes people to process the information.
So you wanted to be a footballer?
Yes, I wanted. Yes, I was close to, but opportunities comes, and then you make decisions, and this is why one of the it's because at a certain point in my life when I have to make the decision, I made the decision by my own. I didn't have anybody to talk about it, so I didn't have anybody to talk about it that I trust that will give me a good advice. So I took the decision not to continue. So I had the choice to continue, but I decided to finish the university. So I studied economics. So I decided to go through the professional way, let's say.
But you did not have a mentor. in your life to guide you or to show you a direction? I mean, whatever you felt as per your gut feeling, you took that.
Yes, yes, I didn't have a mentor, I didn't have a coach, so all the decisions I had to figure it out by myself. And even in business, later in my life, in my late 20s, I took my own decisions. I don't regret any of them, but I think I would have saved some years in my life. Yes, I could have advanced more if I had a mentor or had somebody to help me, at least to talk, more experience that could lead me or give me, open my mind, not necessarily give me the answers, but just open my mind with questions or challenging me in order to understand how we should be thinking. Yes. So I would say that I got this mentorship through books, classes. I did an MBA when I was 25 years old. So listening to classes, traveling abroad, studying abroad, living abroad by myself also taught me a lot. And I think that was the mentors I got. I got different mentors, but I was very receptive in order to understand and learn what people were saying, to get it into myself, reflect about it, and make my own decisions.
Wow. But one thing that I feel is, since growing up with so many struggles, and now that you're talking about, you're opening about your life story, when do you think that your mind was able to, when you started understanding that your mind is able to understand things, and then if someone gives an idea, oh, this is something that I can make something out of it. How did you started to process everything? And that is one. And at what age did you feel, or you started to feel that, okay, now I think I'm growing mature or maybe accountable in terms of my own actions or whatever I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because I still feel I'm 28. I
Yeah.
feel I'm so immature at so many things. I'm so indecisive in so many aspects.
Yeah.
And I also have like a similar background.
Yeah.
But when you are being brought up in those adverse situations, and then when you know that you are good at something, you know that you wanted to play football, but maybe because of lack of resources or lack of opportunities, you never got an opportunity to pursue football, and then you chose, okay, let's do economics. So this thing, how first, I mean, trying to understand the timeline, that shift from being a footballer to going and learning economy. I mean, first of all, why economics? And second is, how did this change or shift happen?
Okay, it happened at the same time. I was already in the faculty and I was training at the club. I was 19 years old. That was the inflection point related to deciding from football, but I was doing both at the same time.
What were you studying?
Economics.
But how did you decide economics?
Well, because I didn't decide for law. When you finish high school, you answer these tests, and they tell you what careers can you choose. So basically, also it was a little bit biased at the time because careers were not so open. Yes, and then they said I was going to law, but then I don't know. I figured it out was kind of boring. I don't know. Law, yes. But then my father introduced me to a friend of his that studied economics, and he explained to me a little bit what's economic about and what were the opportunities related to economics. And then I said, let's try economics. Yes.
And your country at that point of time was already suffering in terms of inflation, like all the economic
Yeah, more or
crisis.
less, more or less. It was almost the inflection point in everything. So we were lucky as well.
Okay.
So I decided for economics without knowing that I like it. So I didn't know that if I was going to like it. So the first year of education, it was general studies. And the second year, you're just getting into faculty. I went to the faculty of economics at the Universidad de Lima.
So you moved to Spain?
No, I'm talking about Peru. I was in Peru.
Lima.
Yes, I
Yes.
was in Peru.
Yes.
Still in Peru. And I figured it out when I was in the faculty that I like it.
Okay.
I was lucky because I met a lot of classmates that they didn't like it and they moved to another faculty. So they lost kind of a year. Or who knows, maybe they gain something better. Figure it out at that time what was the best for them. Yes. or being stuck in something, studying something you don't like. Yes. About football, I was training since I was 9 years old until 19 years old.
Professional training, or was it just for like fun?
In the beginning, it was fun, but then when I was 15 years old, it became a little bit harder. And it was kind of, that was the path going through professional, because the physical conditioning was hard. But then you get tired of this tough life. Yes, going to the university in the mornings, in the afternoon you have to go to trainings. So I went from Tuesday to Friday, playing matches, Saturday, Sundays, having just one day off, and years of that for a long time. You get burned. So you can get physically burned, because of a sport, depending on how hard you want to try. But I was studying and playing football at the same time.
Okay. And since you brought up this idea, you said friends, like you were lucky enough to have so many friends around you. How important is it to have friends in someone's life?
It's very important. You cannot live without friends. Yes, and because if you, those are the people that can support you in certain times that you have many doubts. So if you are able enough to just not necessarily follow their advices, but at least listening to them, they can give you different perspectives. So in this different perspective, when you have no experience, can help to you maybe to decide for the right thing.
So are you still connected in touch with the friends that you had and like when you were a child?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes. Not all of them, because through life, they find their own paths. And then life is just like branches of trees, and then they just go to do whatever they want to do with their families or their interests or their hobbies. But what is nice is that after many years that you come back to the friends, it is like you left the relationship in that moment in life, so you start talking about all the nice moments you have together independently, and then you catch up with all the new information. But I don't think they remember this new information. I think what they remember are all the experiences that you live together, for instance.
But it feels so good. I mean, if you're connected, when you have friends that are still connected with you up until now, and these guys have seen you growing, and in fact for you as well, if you see them growing from that place to doing something, achieving success, and it's a beautiful thing to see someone's journey that you know like really close.
And then with family and kids, when I meet them, I meet the family, I meet the kids, yes, and the children, they call me uncle, which is nice. They don't know me from anything, just for the times that we meet, but they call me uncle because they could see the relationship you have with the parents, for instance, men or women, independently, but they tell you uncle, and that makes you feel like, oh, I belong here to this family. It's not that I'm just a friend.
That's personal.
I am the friend. So it becomes a little bit much more fulfilling in life when you get to know that the descendants of your friends also have this care for you. I play FIFA with them, by the way, with the guys. And with the girls, I don't know, it's a difficult thing.
Do you win or you tend to lose in front of them?
No, if I have to score, I have to score. I don't allow them to.
That's funny.
I'm not flexible in FIFA.
That's sweet as well. So now that we talked about your friends and that you studied economics, so when was the time when you moved out from Lima and you decided, okay, I'm gonna go to a different country, and I assume you went to Spain?
Yes. Well, I went to Spain to study after 3 years working in banking.
Oh, so you did economics and then you joined as a tax advisor, or how was it exactly?
As a financial analyst in a bank. Yes. Worked there for 3 years. Amazing group of people. I think that was the best education I got in my life, and this is what it got me far in life. That working experience in that bank.
What company is it?
Banco de Crédito del Perú, BCP.
Oh, this is Peru.
Peru, yes, this is still Peru. But then at a certain point, I saw that a lot of colleagues, they were doing MBAs, masters. And then there was something that stuck in my mind when we joined the bank. One of the top managers, he made a speech in the graduation ceremony. We were 31 admitted for that year. So every year the bank was employing 31 people to work in their divisions, different divisions, commercial division basically. But this guy said something that is stick in my mind for a while. It says something like, if after 3 years you are in the same place, you have to move on. Inside the bank, get promoted or go to a different department, or outside the bank, so get another job. Which means is that you need always to move. You need to look for new objectives in life. Yes,
That's true.
and I already had 3 years, and I was like, okay, maybe it's time to do a master degree. So I decided to study in Lima. I studied 1 year in Lima, and they have a double degree program with a business school in Barcelona.
Okay.
And this is why I started my master in Peru for a year, and then I went to Barcelona, to Spain, for the second year, so I could have this double degree, MBA, master degree. Yeah.
That's really nice, because since you talked about the 3 years experience thing, I always recommend people whosoever I meet who is into business, who is into life, there's a book, it's called How to Live an Extraordinary Life. I think I mentioned to you as well. It's by Anthony Pompolino. One of his, this guy writes letters to his son and daughter. Like, there are multiple set of letters, and you open a book and you can, like, as soon as you open the book, you can read anything. It's going to be a new chapter in every single, it's not linked with each other. So I read about him. He was working with Meta, with Facebook at that point in time, with Mark Zuckerberg. He mentioned something that his dad advised him, that if you are working in a company for 2 years straight, that's it. You should not be working in a company for more than 2 years, because I think 2 years is enough for you to be able to understand how the company works, what are the skill sets that you can get. Because maybe earlier in your life, you just get to understand that these are the skill set that I'm drawn towards, right? And these are the skill set that I don't like, maybe. So since you also mentioned, like 3 years, if you're not doing something, if you're not changing something about you,
Yeah.
you will never be able to grow, and you will then live a stagnant life, and then you'll still be in the rat race.
Yeah.
So I think it was like so similar, the analogy that you talked about.
Yeah, but yes, and this is something that I discovered later when I joined these MBA programs, that regularly your classmates, professionals also in their fields, they have experience in 2 or 3 industries. Yes, depending on the age. Some of them, they have experience only in one industry. Okay, but this is what I said, that in the place where I work, I was lucky. I think I was lucky all my life. Yes, because I was managing a portfolio of companies. So our business was to lend money, and then I can have, let's say, 100 companies in my portfolio, and all of these companies, they have they belong to a different industry, okay, or they belong to
I understand.
different sizes. So then when you talk to the owner, or you talk to the CFO, the CEO of these different companies, they have different styles, they have different organizations, they have different struggles, they have different businesses, they have different industries. So I was not just in the banking industry. Indirectly, I was learning a lot about different industries from different sizes, talking to different people that work differently. To the outside, we call it internal or external client. So the external client were your clients, yes, the bank's clients, they want money. But then also you have internal clients, which were your colleagues from other departments, because we have to work with operations, we have to work with international trade department, we have to work with leasing department, we have to work with the corporate finance department. So you have to talk to a lot of people, actually, in order to make your work happen. And then that's also the training that you are receiving while you're working. And it was, every day was different, even though you have a routine since you started the day, but every day was different,
This was when you were
intense.
working with with this bank.
Exactly, when I was
Lima.
working in the bank. And then I had the opportunity to move and do the master's degree.
Spain.
And then even though I was young, I was the youngest in my class when I started in Peru. I could participate in a lot of debates because of the different experiences that case studies on all these companies gave me. So actually, I felt that I have a little bit much more experience than the other ones because the cases that I managed to solve in the bank was vast, more than the other ones that they just work in 1, 2, or 3 industries.
So, and then you moved to Barcelona because, and while you were pursuing your MBA, and since you already had a 3 years of experience, and now you had an understanding of different industries as well.
Exactly.
So when you were in your MBA, how did you feel amongst the classmates? Because of course you carried a certain amount of experience, and that experience actually had you so many different outlook towards life because you were working with different industries. So how was it in your MBA? I mean, in Barcelona.
It was kind of the same, but in Barcelona was an international environment. So you have people from everywhere in the world. So, and this added another variable, culture. Yes, when you were in Peru, you were just surrounded by your own culture. So you know the same codes, you talk the same language, slang. But then when you move somewhere else, yes, and then I decided I could choose between the Spanish group of the English group. I decided to go to the English group. And then in the English group, we also have all these international students coming from exchange programs, yes, that they came from everywhere in the world, plus all the foreigner students, Latin Americans or Europeans, also studying the full program in there. So then it also created a challenge because now you have to adapt to them because you are the new one, yes. So that creates also sort of mental flexibility. So your brain has to adjust.
How important is it for someone to move abroad once in their life
Very important.
to study?
Very important, I would say.
Yes?
Yes, it is. First of all, it challenges you. Yes. So you are in a new environment. You get out of your bubble, you get out of your comfort zone, your security place, and you never know if you made the right decision in your life. Does it sound familiar to you?
I mean, of course, but still, I have my own regrets at times, but I understand it, and it it gets you out of something that you never thought you would be able to do, and think in a way that you never thought that you would be able to think.
Yeah, I
So,
understand.
and specifically the fact that you spoke about that, you are in your own culture, your own bubble, and when you go outside, you feel, oh, they have a different culture, and when you talk to these people, when you make international friends, and adapt to situations wherein you know that there is no father, there is no mother, it's you who is responsible for your actions.
Oof.
It's you who is accountable.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the most freeing experience in a way. And
Yeah.
I think it teaches, I mean, I'm still undergoing that process, but because you have already been through it, how did it change? What did it change about you while you were in Lima versus when you moved to Barcelona? Did it humble you? How was it?
First of all, at that time, I didn't reflect so much when I studied in Barcelona. I knew that there was nobody. If I got sick, I was by my own. Maybe I had some friends that would help. But then that meant that I had to be alert to take care of myself. That's the first thing in Barcelona that I learned. Yes, so take care of yourself because you are alone. But I would say that my inflection point actually was not in Barcelona. My inflection point in life regarding mentality when I was living here in Bremen.
Here?
Yeah. So my story is that after I finished my MBA in Barcelona, I went back to Peru, worked for a year and a half, and then I figured it out that I didn't want to work for somebody. Yes, that was true. Yes,
But how?
because I was free during the education for 2 years, so I was discovering the world. Yeah, so I was studying, but it was open, so it was flexible. I could do is in a routine because you have timetables, classes, and then you have to comply with you have to attend to classes. If not, you fail. And then you have group work, and then you have assignments, and then you have exams. Okay, you have to comply with all that, but you were free of a company schedule, a company timetable. So I didn't have to check every day. It was me deciding to study, me deciding to do the assignments, me deciding to study for the final exam. It was only my own decision, and I decided to comply. Yes. So more or less, my brain was like, okay, I don't want to go back to work. But as I was back to Peru from Barcelona, I had to continue working, correct? I didn't like it. I didn't like to be in an office from 8:30 to 5, 8:30 to 6. And I was like, okay, I felt like with, with the camisa de fuerza, I don't know how to say it. It's, with this,
Caged prison.
the cage prison, and then I applied to this scholarship at IGC. They gave me the tuition for free. That was happened. I had to pay for my living expenses, and I came to Germany. And here is,
I'm sorry, how long was it?
it was in the year 2004.
2004.
Yes, I did the MBA year 2002, 2003, 2004. I came to Germany.
Okay, and how old were you when you were in Germany?
27, turned 28. And then my mentality changed because I was not, before that experience, I was thinking about success, business, create something, be big or something like that. But then when I was in Germany, I learned to live life, actually. Yes. Because you have a lot of time. It's much more certain than the uncertainty in Peru.
Yes.
And then it's much more organized. Yes, even though Germans sometimes say this is disorganized than before, but it's still organized. All the infrastructure tends to work, and then you expect something, and usually that's what you get. So expectations are what you more or less think. So that makes easy for someone to live. Yes. And then I was thinking about, okay, what do I need to live? What is my budget that I need to live? It was at that time, I think with 750 euros, you can live without any issue at all.
It was cheap.
Yes. So I value at that time then time. Okay, so I just need 650 euros to live. What can I do with my extra time? Different mentality. Yes. How I can put value into the additional time that I have. So I started researching about all the potential business that I can open is in that time. So you see the change of mentality from trying to create something big that makes you billionaire, millionaire, to just what's the basic I need, and from that point I start building something. Yes. What else?
But when you did your MBA in Barcelona, you moved back to Peru.
Yeah.
You decided that you're gonna work for someone for a year and a half, or
Yeah, but I was looking for something different. So what did I learn in the MBA is that they are training you to be a CEO,
right?
because you get different courses of different topics. So you learn from different business units in a company. But then between Barcelona and Bremen, what I learned is that they are also teaching you to be the CEO of your life, which is the same. Yes, but it's just your unipersonal business. So is your marketing, is your finance, is your strategy, is your human own resource management, your logistics, and everything that surrounds you. Yes. So I would say that the MBA, yes, is focused only in companies, but I think they are forgetting that the same education can be helpful for
Your life,
your life.
your personality.
Exactly. So I decided to be the CEO of my own life.
And then you moved to Bremen
I moved to Bremen.
for a PhD or
No,
MBA?
MBA, specialized in tourism management. Then what is the story then? I finished education. I had a very great time here. I made very good friends again. I meet some of them almost every year. And then I received a call from my father, and he was offering me to be in charge of the family construction company. So besides the service company that he opened, he also parallel opened a construction company that was not working at the time. And as I work in banking, in the banking portfolio I manage, I had some construction companies. So I actually knew what to do with the finances of a construction company from the side of a bank.
Wow.
So now I have to be on the other side of the desk as a business owner. And this is why I went into construction. in Peru. So I went back from Bremen to Lima and started building buildings, apartment buildings.
And that's when you realized that, because that's when I think you were completely taking in charge of your construction company. And
Yeah.
that was successful as well, right?
Yes. If not, you don't survive.
But while I was reading about you and while we had certain amount of interactions, how did you, someone who did economics, who went to do an MBA, decided to work back again, who worked for accounting, got back to another MBA, moved back, took the construction company, and then started growing trees? What's the story about growing trees?
Oh,
Why do you love trees so
okay.
much?
So back in the year 2003, back when I went back to Peru, I looked for a professor at the master in Peru because I told you I started master in Peru because I wanted to be involved in education at the time. Yes, and this professor was flexible enough, and he said something like, "We should create a group related to reforestation."
But when you say education, that you wanted to be into education, what does that mean?
Teaching.
But why? I mean, I had this question
Yeah.
parked for a later stage
Yeah.
because why would
Yeah.
you do an MBA?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing a company. Why
Yeah.
would you start teaching? I mean, how did education angle come into picture?
Okay. I have different angles to answer that question. First of all, I think to be in the university or in business school, it's a good place. There is a lot of good energy around of people with eagerness to learn, people with eager to improve, to become better, and then I don't want to go out of the university. So it's like I never stop. I never move out of the university or the business school. I'm always in, correct? So how can you come back and be in that environment when you are not a student? Yes, this is being a professor. This is one. Yeah, so I'm always surrounded by all these people with energy, with this will to hunger to eat the world. Yes, and that just energizes you. That just put you in a different scale of energy in yourself personally. The other reason is that I figured it out in my life that I like to teach. I like to transfer my knowledge, my experience, because I realized that I can help a lot of people to save 2, 3, 4, 10 years in their life and careers if they have a mentor, if they have a coach, if they have somebody that with one or two sentences can make them think. And just with that reflection, they can change the mentality, they can change the decision for good. And this is why I like teaching. So it's like trying to give back to the community what you receive. And this energy, when you give back all that without thinking about receiving anything in return, it's just powerful. It comes back to you in 10,000 different ways that you don't even understand, but that's what happens.
And you never had it in the first place. I mean, you did not have a mentor.
No?
And then you decided that I did not have it.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to help people.
Yeah.
That's such a
Sure.
such a great perception, like great thought.
Yes. So
What
this is what I say. I wanted to be in education, so I tried to strategize how to be in there. So this professor wanted to create a group related to reforestation. It didn't happen. It didn't work out because people were too busy to do some research work or try to do conferences or things like this. So when I came here to Bremen, I have to write a thesis. And I wrote a thesis about reforestation as a source of carbon absorption. I made a financial analysis between what was best to plant trees or to invest money in innovation in planes. We're talking about Airbus, for instance. Yes, it was much more. The return of planting trees was much more higher than innovating in technology for planes.
how?
You just make the maths. You just make the maths. It's corporate finance. Yes.
But for the audience, if you can explain it in the
Yeah.
most layman language. Take
There
an
is
example of a
something
trade.
that the carbon capture now it's issuing bonds.
Okay.
Yes, if you plant trees, the trees are capturing carbons. So you can create a project that you can issue bonds against these carbon captures.
Okay.
If you put that into the market for 300 million euros, that's what companies like Airbus invest in technology to reduce the carbon absorption, let's say. But that's a trick. Yeah, that's a trick. I can explain that. You put that into balance, you will see that planting trees is much more, let's say, profitable than investing 300 million euros in innovation.
So, for example, if someone has to start, let's say someone is driven by the idea that, oh, look, I want to reduce the carbon footprint, I want to do something for the nature, and I decide that I also want to make a business out of it.
Yeah.
I decide I buy a tree or a
Yeah.
seed and I plant a tree.
You plant a tree.
Now, how does it work? How does it get you return?
You have to wait 15 years
Mm-hmm.
so that you harvest a tree.
Mm-hmm.
With a tree, you can have different businesses. If you want to do different businesses related to wood, yes, to timber, and then you get into the next cycle of planting another tree in the land that you harvest. This is reforestation. Yes, so all the products of trees that you already have built, or if you sold the timber, it doesn't matter. It sticks. The carbon sticks in that timber. So then all these cycles are capturing carbon.
So you mean to say you can plant it. So first of all, I mean, if someone wants to have a business about this, they have to have a piece of land.
Yeah.
And then they plant trees.
They plant trees.
They wait for 15 years, just like how we...
Depending on the type of tree. There are trees that they mature 25 years or 30 years. But the longest you wait, the longest the return, because those trees usually are in extinction. They're extincted trees. So you are also adding value to the fauna, to the flora. And then as those are extincted trees, when you plant these trees, again, back to the earth, you have the fauna that die because these trees did not longer exist in that area.
And then you...
So you are benefit not only directly from the timber, but also indirectly from all the energy that you create related to the flora and fauna that you bring again to this region.
So how big is the timber industry in the first place?
Large. I don't have the exact numbers.
But so it's more like me investing for a longer term, expecting a return, right?
Expecting
so over here, you just do this, you take care of the tree for I don't know how many years, and then once the tree grows, what do? You cut it off, and then...
I live in Spain, so I have to take the simple approach because I cannot manage the operations of developing products with the timber. So I just harvest and sell the wood.
You cut the wood and you sell it?
Yes, and I sell it. Yeah.
So how much does it cost? A basic math, how much does it cost for one single tree to plant?
You're talking about the return.
To plant?
It's 10x. The return, 10x.
10x?
Yes.
In 15 years?
In 15 years.
That's really nice. I mean, so if I put 10 euros over here right now to plant it.
Yeah, in 15 years you get 100.
And how much do you do it? I mean, you do it yourself, right?
No, I have people that help me to make the plantations and make the maintenance.
I mean, you are like, it's your business, correct?
It's my land. Those are my trees. Yes, it's my business.
So it would be wise to say that you are already living a wealthy life.
Not now, because I have to wait for the different cycles.
But I mean, when did you start this? I mean, how long has it
Okay,
been?
and this was part of the story I missed. So I did the thesis here in Germany, year 2005, that I defended the thesis. So when I went back to Peru for the construction company, I was working in construction, and I met a friend. Yes, and this friend was working in reforestation in Peru, and he offered me some land in a region which is rich in wood, in reforestation. I bought some land.
You bought a mountain,
Yes.
right? I mean, this would be...
Four.
You bought 4 mountains.
70 hectares. It's a lot of...
Oh man.
That's a lot of land.
Who thinks to buy a mountain? You know, I mean...
I didn't know about it. So when I went to see, what is this piece of land, I was just got captured by these green mountains. Yeah, so he offered me first 33 hectares. And then a couple of weeks later, he calls me and says, the neighbor wants to sell. Do you want to buy? I said, for sure. So then I added 37 hectares to my investment. But what I wanted to point out is that it was not directly that I went into reforestation. It was like many, many thoughts about it years before it happened, because we were talking about it in the year 2003. Then I wrote my thesis in the year 2005. And then in the year 2006, I bought the land. So you see, it was not straightforward. So I got a lot of information before I made the decision to buy the land. So when my friend actually offered me to buy the land, I didn't even have to research, because the research was already done previous years. So knowledge is there. Yes, so depends of the quality of information that you go, the quality of research that you do, of the amount of time and hours that you put into an activity, helps to you to later take a decision. Yes, help me. I still have the land, and I have like 25,000 trees.
That would generate a revenue in millions.
I don't know.
I can do the math. If you have 25,000 trees.
But I'm not thinking about the millions. I'm thinking about all the energy that I'm putting into the earth.
And of course, it's always good, but as a business mind, because you already have a business mind in your brain, and
Yeah.
I mean,
I did, but sometimes you also had doubts about what you're doing, because at a certain point in the time, especially in the year 2013, 14, that I didn't have anybody to help me with the plantation, I was thinking about selling it.
okay.
Yes. So you see, doubts and uncertainty always put you ideas in your brain. So it's not straightforward. It's not straightforward at all.
But do you believe in the fact that you need to be at the right point of, like, at the right place at the right point in time?
Yes, and that's lucky. You know what luck it is? You know what luck is? What is the definition of luck?
Yes.
Which is?
Which is that you just get lucky.
No, not at all. It's well, they say, if you look on the internet, we say when the opportunity meets preparation. So when you are prepared with the information, with the knowledge, with the network, with the resources, something there triggers the opportunity, in the sense that somebody's sharing something, and then you just grab it, yes, and start talking about it. If your preparation it's ready to develop and execute that opportunity.
That's a good thought to it. I mean, I would like to put a thought to it. But I also feel, I mean, if you feel that you lucky, I mean, you said that I'm always lucky. If you believe in that mindset, I think luck any which ways finds you. Somehow or the other, you just get lucky every single time.
Yeah, but that's what I said. In many different stages in my life, I feel I was lucky. I felt lucky, and if I reflect to it backwards, I felt lucky.
That's nice. I mean, it's good to have a understanding getting in your brain, I think. The way you think. Also,
By the way, I learned it from books. I learned it from podcasts. I learned it from documentaries. Yeah, so it's also a mindset of preparation, mentality. Is where do you get it from? Yes, and this all adds to you.
I also had a question. What do you think was the biggest mistake? I know you don't regret, but some sort of mistake that you did back in 20s that you would not want us or the audience to do. Something that you did yourself and you wish that you should not have done it.
Basically, I think I should have opened my company when I was working as an employee for the bank. Not in the first year, but in the second year. So I think I wasted kind of, not wasted, because also helped me to build a relationship, network, friends, but put some time into doing something for myself, opening a company, providing a service, developing a product, something that could have given a little bit much more of leverage and income at the time. But I don't know. if I had done it at that time, maybe I wouldn't be here today. Yes, so you never know. But what I will do is I will just speed it up a little bit, opening a business when you're younger. And basically when you have the energy and when you have the resources.
You should do it.
Exactly, you should do it.
Talking about your mother, because I can relate to relate a lot of things that happen in your life, and now that you mentioned about opening your company, since you mentioned that your mother was really supportive towards your father and everything worked out some way or the other way, when you are in your 20s, what do you believe? Do you believe that, how, first of all, do you believe in love?
Yes, I do believe in love.
You do?
Yes, I do.
So if you believe in love, tell me something.
Mm-hmm.
What is important? Getting married early in your life, or waiting for the right person, set yourself up, and then get married?
Okay, so I will rephrase your question.
Yes.
Um, when we are in the 20s, to answer the question, I have to go back. When you're in your 20s, we think that we know everything.
Correct.
When you get your first kid, you understand that you know nothing. Yes. So in order to get children, basically, you want that children to grow up in a family base. So you need to have a person besides you. Yes. So you can live long. You can die longly if you wait for the right person. Yes. So then, answering the marrying younger has some advantages and disadvantages. So marrying younger means that probably you will have children younger, which means that when you are in the 40s, beginning of the 40s, your children are teenagers. And this is what happened to a lot of my friends, actually, that they got children in the mid 20s, so that when they're 40s, they have like a second youth. Yes. So the younger you are, the more energy you have. Children consumes a lot of energy, but then also gives you the opportunity so that when you are in the 40s, you're free to do things. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. If you have children later, yes, you can enjoy a lot of life, but then you have less energy. I mean, the relationship is going to be, I think, the same, but then everything is delayed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just balancing what do you want to manage in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But your first kids will teach you that you know nothing.
But how do you know that the person that I meet, this person is the right one? How does your heart know?
I don't know if that's a heart, but it's supposed to be the intuition. It's an intuition that we have inert to us, but it has to match with you. So you know what is good for you. Um, your own me knows what is good for you. Yes, but also I will have to say that in the long term, people change it, because this energy that I'm talking, I talk a lot about energy, drops or increases depending on the person. Um, the the objectives of people also vary, the interests of people vary, and this can make changes in the relationship where you are or where you feel comfortable. Yes. So in case of relationships, you never know.
But when you are a high performative male, when you know that you have a lot of things that you need to achieve in your life, when you have a bigger dream, when you know that you have to struggle hard or you have to do something like really big, create something. And at that point of time, for example, like your mother, if I have a right person by my side, does the journey become easier, or you alone, because you know that you are just working towards one single thing and you don't have anyone? Which makes it easier? Like, how did it happen to you, and how do you think it works?
Do I have to answer that?
Yes. I mean, you can choose to skip, but
You never know. Yes, but remember that the person that you have on the side also requires time from you. So if you're obsessed with reaching your objective, probably you can lose the love of your life because you didn't provide enough time. So you have to nurture that relationship. So I would say that is trying to find a balance of what is your objective and what is your relationship is going to be. So and in that balance, you will find your happiness. Yes. So at a certain point in life, you have to decide either if you want a little bit much more of a relationship and then put down a little bit your objectives, is because at the end of life, if you put up the objective, you are going to lose a relationship. Simple than that.
But when we see it, like most successful people in their, I mean, not the definition of success, but the most successful people in their life, most of them, why do they have to compromise on their relationship?
Difficult to say.
I mean, I know about your situation. I don't know if you're comfortable in
No,
sharing.
better not.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
difficult to say.
but why is it? Why is it a pattern that people who are extremely successful in their life, who are like on the tops, take any names, why do they have to go through a divorce or relationship not working out well? Why is it like that? And it's a pattern for almost all the top 10-20%.
Because people, I mean, when you're in the 20s and when you're in the 40s, we are different. So we change a lot. And then person that you're in the 40s, after many years of being in a relationship, is not the same that when you were in the 20s. And in the 20s, you are a little bit much more naive. You have less experience and you have less knowledge. Sometimes you don't know what you want. And then you just keep it moving, correct? And then when you get a little bit much more mature, you know what you want. You have more knowledge, you have more experience. And then probably you know that that person is not the right person for you. Or say some people stay in the relationship because they just get used to it, they get comfortable with it. Yes. But then at a certain point in life, if that's not working, it's not working. However, all the relationship, they need time to nurture, they need time to grow, and then they need to accept that we are going to be different in the future. And then how that future relationship will fit into my different me in the future. And then sometimes we are thinking about the past, on how we were, instead of thinking about who am I now.
That's important, to work on yourself.
Yes. And how that relationship fits into your now me after 15 or 20 years, so that then you can still grow together. Yes. What happens sometimes is that it could be, in many cases, different situations, but person grows too fast and the other person just stay in the same position. You see, there's a gap, and the gap is large. Mentality is different too. So all these difference can make relationship not work, because they were more or less having the same support and growing mentality when they were younger. But then when they grew older, the gap is too different.
So life is, I mean, as you said, life is all about finding the right balance.
Yes, yes, and understanding all these difference. So are you willing to change? Are you willing to decrease your expectations, so that then, and this person is willing to grow a little bit, so that then you both can match again?
How many kids do you have?
3.
3. So now that you are yourself a father, how was your relationship with your father back in the days? And what
It
changed?
was intense, I would say. My father has a very hard personality, and I was not an easy guy, I would say. Yes. So easy in the sense that I have brains, and then I can think by my own since I was little. So maybe he didn't like my argumentation regarding his thinking. And this is why it makes it hard, because when a father says, you have to do this, and the kid says, why? If I consider that this is better than what you are saying, and if I just want him to do that, that creates a lot of tension. Yes. But I try to keep the best out of him, not just in this conflictive relationship, because I also realize that what I'm now in life is because he also gave me a lot of things during all this. all these years.
So the way, I don't know how your dad treated you, but when you were young or when you became a father yourself, did you decide a way that, okay, this is how I was treated back in my days, and this
Yeah.
is not something that I would like to treat my kids with,
Yes.
or I want to take a different approach? How was that relationship?
It was different in the past, so there is no good or bad, but they try to teach you by violence. Yes.
Yes.
So by fear.
Yes.
Yes. And that was something I didn't like. Yes. Until I was 12, 13 years old, and I said, "You don't hit me anymore." And I was ready to go physical at that point. Yes. Because he was not willing to accept that. But he saw my face and he saw that I was serious. As a father, I don't want that relationship with my kids. I will never go physical or violent in any way, because during all these years in education, for instance, I've learned that I can inspire somebody, that I can motivate somebody, that I can teach somebody without the need of, say, threaten someone. So, and this is kind of a challenge, not to get into that negative position, but use the positive tools that we have in order to change behavior towards something that you know that is going to be much better for them.
Was it easy for you? Because you said when you have kids, you just automatically start to feel that you know nothing about your life.
Actually, I practice with my cousins, because I have smaller, younger cousins than me, 10 years difference in age. So I was practicing when I was 13, 14 years old. So I was trying to contain myself not to hit them. Seriously. Yes. So I would say, "Oh, you didn't like this when you were kids. So why would you do to them?" Yes. And during a couple of years, or that thinking of not becoming like my father to my cousins, is how I control my interior to get violent to someone. So it was work. So now with my children it's easier, because I could control them when I was a teenager, actually, with my cousins. So that's more or less the guys I practice. The guys I practice with.
I mean, it takes a lot of efforts to be a man, to be able to, not only a man, maybe a woman, but to be able to reflect on your actions, try to work on yourself. And an MBA teaches you to be a CEO of your own life, right? As you said. It's difficult. I mean, but it is a process, I would say.
It's a process, yes.
But do you still feel that you have learned everything, or you still are learning every day?
I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Yes, definitely. That I think life gives to you a lot of opportunities to get into different knowledge you don't have, that you can take advantage of this. And besides, um, getting into at least for me, getting into a routine and do all the same every day, it's a little bit boring. Yes. And then sometimes also I regret to get into different challenges, because then it consumes a lot of energy and gives to you a lot of work. But then you say, yeah, okay, but life is nice in this way, because it's all different, and then you have puzzles, or you have difficult situations to solve, but sometimes they become too difficult. That is too heavy. Yes, but it varies. It varies. It depends on the personality. Some people like the routine, yes, and some other people just like the
Flexibility.
flexibility. Yes, so it depends.
I mean, now we are almost on the last leg of the podcast. I wanted to also talk about, since you said when you're talking about your dad, and you said that there were certain skills that he lacked. And I think when I was having a discussion with you earlier as well, you told me life is all about negotiations.
Yeah,
Can you tell me something more about it? I mean,
for
like,
sure.
yes, I mean,
For
how,
sure.
and to add a layer to it, how important soft skills is when it comes to talk to people.
Yeah.
Because as an MBA, not only MBA, in life as well, I mean, when young people are going to watch this video, what are a few of the important aspects in life that you need to have? I mean, this is something which is non-negotiable. This is something that you should have no matter what. You should learn, you should watch video, you should read book, whatever that is. But this skill should be in you. For example, talking to people, networking, soft skills. And of course, the part where life is a negotiation.
Somebody told me, yes, that instead of soft skills, we should call it power skills.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I agree because um, networking, for instance, this is something I learned in life, is what is going to lead you to reach farther in life. Who do you know? Impact in what can you do in the future. So then how can you increase that network if you don't talk to people? So in order to talk to people, you need certain skills like communication. How are you going to increase your network if you cannot communicate in a good way your own ideas? So all this is a change of different skills that can help to you to leverage your objectives, reach to them faster. There is not a straight line, um, but then it's kind of connecting the skills that you're missing. So in many of my classes, I challenge the students to make a list of the strengths and weaknesses. Yes, or I ask them, what is leadership for you? So give me the skills that a leader has. Not everybody can be a leader, but then you can have certain skills that a leader has, and developing these skills that you don't at the moment, that could be weaknesses for you, can help to you to be a better me, improve your own me, and so that you can fulfill your objectives.
That makes sense. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, it's easier said than done. But what I believe is, I mean, you should always be working. You should always be open to learning new things. You should always be open to learning new experiences. And people, I mean, I read it somewhere, or I don't know, I watched a video. They say people are like doors. The more number of doors you open, the more number of universe opens to you. So
Exactly.
every door is like a universe. I meet you, you make me meet your friends. Maybe I meet their friends, and you just don't know how or in what ways just universe aligns something for you.
Let me interrupt you in this
Yes.
part, because this is another reason why I'm in education, because give me access to meet in class different people every time that I'm in a different class. And that class opens 30, 50, 60, hundreds of doors every year.
Correct.
So then network expands, and then thinking about that person that studied with you today in 10 years is going to be a professional, it's going to be a family member, is going to be in one industry, is going to have his own business, is going to be different. And that opens doors, not only now, but in the future as well. So this is one of the reasons as well I am in education.
That's really nice. I mean, it's always good that you also have the similar mindset that I have, and you already have lived a journey that I am living right now. I don't know how my life is going to be headed down the line, but to be able to learn or to be able to absorb things or maybe the mistakes that you did back in your life, maybe if it makes me or people watching this video a better person, I think the objective of this video is done.
And another reason why I also teach is because in a classroom, you can learn and you can improve many of the power skills that you need. Because you need to learn about communication. How are you communicating the idea? You need to know about patience. Yes, patience is very important in investments. Exactly. You need to know about some time skills, for instance. Yes, you need to learn about how to read people. Yes, you need to learn to negotiate with the students. So actually, in a classroom, it's not just a job; it's a learning opportunity for the one that is delivering the lesson.
And it's important
Exactly.
to live that lesson and move abroad.
Yes, and you are improving as a person with your own work. Then you can get the feedback, and then you can say, next class or next course, I'll do it differently because this didn't work. I should put more effort into this. I should say this. I should communicate in this way. I should negotiate this. I think I'm not happy with the answer I gave this person. Maybe I should treat this issue in a different way So then all this reflection helps to you as well to improve your leadership skills or your power skills or your soft skills, if you want to say.
So in one word, self-reflection is important.
Always. It's important.
Okay, so before we end the podcast, I also wanted to have a rapid fire round. Do you understand how a rapid fire works?
No, can you explain that to me, please?
Yes. So I ask you a question and you have to be as quick as possible. Maybe
Okay.
it's just going to be an option you have to choose as quick as you can. So money or meaning in
Meaning.
life? Risk or security?
Risk.
Marry young or marry right?
Marry young.
One book that changed your life?
Organizational behavior.
By?
Stephen Robbins. Interesting.
The hardest phone call that you ever made?
Oh, when my father called me to be in charge of the family construction company, I think that changed everything.
One word for your 20s, the Hubert in 20. If you can go back and say something to the young Hubert.
Open a company.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
One word for where are you now?
Building. Yeah.
Peru or Europe?
Peru until 20s, Europe after.
Peru is better.
Both. Both has learning opportunities.
But to teach you street smartness.
Street smartness, yes, Peru.
Yes. One advice that you would like to give to me?
You need to have faith. I heard that from Steve Jobs. Is in this Stanford speech.
Yes.
Yes, and he said something like, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. So it means that you need to have faith in the future. You need to have, he said, call it religion, call it karma, call it however you want, but you need to believe in something in the future. And this belief will offset the uncertainty that we have in our minds, because we feel sometimes that we don't know that if we are doing the right thing, but this belief will help us to know that that's the path to continue, and that's the path, and that's the right way. So connecting the dots, looking backwards, and that's the advice I will give to you too. So just believe in what you do, because if you believe in what you do, you will find your way.
Thank you so much. I think nothing would have been better to end this podcast better than this thought that you just said. So thank you so much, Professor. I really appreciate you finding time. I know you have to fly back to Spain today, and you still chose to give your time. And I know how particular you are with time, and you utilize your time in a way. And appearing as my first ever guest in this podcast, I think it's so overwhelming for me as well, and I feel so blessed, that you agreed to do this. You believed in my vision because I wanted to do something like this, and you said yes to it. So thank you so much for that. I hope this video reaches to people who really are wanting to do something in their life, and maybe they're just looking for a sign from the universe. Maybe this video is it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the honor. I'm honored to be here. But also what I say is that we should evaluate our own lack, because if we have the opportunity to be here, whatever you are lucky enough to have the information, to listen to your podcast, to have that book, to talk to your friends, to have your family, to be in business. Yes, but you need to feel that lack in yourself. Then that lack is going to help you grow. So you need to understand your own lack and start building from your own opportunities.
I mean, and as a person, you had to go through so many things in your life to be able to reach where you are right now. And I think we just touched that surface. Maybe some other time when you are back over here in Bremen again, I would like to do another podcast with you. Maybe diving a lot more deeper. And by that point of time, I would still learn new things about doing podcasts, because this is just something I have never done before. And maybe I'll get better. And then once you are back again, maybe we figure out something else and we do another episode.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm feel honored to be the first one, and then I think that you will improve everything in the next episodes.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.